Okay. I have taken some images that I got on a Facebook group that is called, I can't remember the exact name of it, but there's several of the AI images that people freely share. And so all of these images are from that. Okay, so I really didn't use any Canva images on here because I think, honestly, I think they're superior. The images you get on AI are superior to what most of what you find on Canva. See how pretty those are?
Those are beautiful. Now, okay, you're good. You zoomed
Can
in. That's good.
Okay, I'm gonna. Okay,
There you go.
am I too
Yeah, you're
far
good.
up?
You're
Okay,
good.
so all of these little images here are from Canva, and there's a kind of a process I go through when I go to pick out images, um, because you can really waste a lot of time, and time is money, and when you're in business. I mean, I know not everybody is in business, but I think for the most part, people who buy blues are usually in business because they're doing volume. So that's important to keep in mind when you're picking out images and what to do. So this frog image that I picked out, notice that it has the outline around it. So that makes it very easy to pipe. Um, Sometimes those images will have cutoff marks. See, this is a little cut off here on the side of this frog, on the right side of this frog, but it's okay because it really isn't part of the image. It's just part of that white outline. So I'm not too worried about that. And you can see me okay still, Debbie?
Yeah, we're looking at the bottom two images now. Did you adjust that?
Okay. Do I need to adjust that?
The screen. Yep.
Um, so anyway, on the side there, sometimes it'll cut off an image. So those are things to watch for. I like to use things that are already outlined, because if you look at that little frog, he's got those tiny little toes. Well, you can't ice those tiny little toes without worrying about them breaking off. So notice that what that outline does, if you can see my cursor there, it just helps it to give it a more solid surface rather than all those tiny little toes.
Gotcha. Can you adjust your screen just a little bit? We need to see more of the top of your screen. We're looking at half keyboard, half screen.
Oh, okay. You know what? It might be easier to just do it like this.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
better.
okay? That's me just holding it. I was trying to prop it with my fan, but I don't think that works as well. Um, okay, so the next part of that is that these little baby letters. These are so cute. I've got them set at 1 inch. And the way you do that is you tap on whatever image you want, and then you go up to position, and then I can see the screen that comes up on the left. I go down to the height and width I want and make sure that I click the lock button because I want to keep my ratio 1 to 1 like it is right now. So I could make it 1.5 or whatever I wanted. Okay. I like 1 inch because I'm thinking I want to write baby on a cookie. And if I write baby on a cookie, I want to be, you're going to need at least, that's 4 inches with no spacing. So that's a good size cookie. That's why I'm doing them that size. I could actually go down to 3/4 of an inch really easily and do them that way. But that's a pretty tiny transfer to try to outline. So I'm trying to make it easy on myself. But to make it easier on myself, what I did was I took these same baby images, and then they have a white background on them. Okay. To get rid of that white background, and I'll show you how to do that. I just click on the image with the white background there, and I go up to the top here where it says BG Remover. And you have to have the pro version to do this, or you have to have a subscription version to do this. Um, I'm interested in sharing a subscription. I think you can have it up to 5 people. I know that a lot of cookiers are doing this. They're sharing subscriptions, and then it doesn't cost you as much because it's like $14.99 a month, which adds up over time. And if you can get 5 people in, then that cuts your cost down. So if anybody's interested in that, let me know. But so you just click on your image, and then you click remove background, and watch what it does. See, now I've got it to where it's perfectly clear. If I wanted to, I could do some editing on there. I could click on that remover again, and it'll blow it up for me, and I could remove the buttons. Okay, so let's see. I'll just remove the button. Ding, 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 ding. And I want those buttons. I just wanted to show you how to do it. So I'm going to undo that. Okay, so then I want to center my image. And you see that Canva gives you the automatic lines, and it almost snaps it into place for you. This one, I'm going to snap into place, and it's showing alignment, perfect alignment with that. The way I got these, well, let me show you again. I'm going to remove the background, click the image, remove the background, and then I'm going to click it back into place, click the image, remove background. It's that simple to do that. Now this part will get tricky. And since I don't have 2 hands, if you want to, and I'm not going to do it here just for simplicity, but if you want to group these together, and I highly recommend you do that if you're going to be copying and pasting and doing multiples of those. Um, it's different on different devices that you have. On my Mac, it's a shift um, control, and then you just click whichever images you want. So if I wanted to click this one, the background, and one of the things that I found, since this is so small and so tight, you're better off clicking that image first, that outer image, and then let's see if I can do this. Shift. I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to try
One-handed.
it. Ooh, one-handed. That's impressive. I got it. So that was really just the shift. Then I clicked on the other image, and then I group them. Okay, so now I can move them together as before they were not, they were separate images. So that is how you do that. I went up to get my background, I went up to my elements. Okay, you can see recently used, there's a recently used, but all I did was typed in squares, squares. Okay, so I like this square. It automatically put in my color that I was working with. But if it doesn't, can you see me okay still?
Yeah, you need to kind of tilt your screen, our camera up just a little more again.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, so
Good.
all I had to do is go there, and then I can, let's say I wanted to change it to the blue, and it shows you your teddy bear image over here that you're working with, and then you just pick whatever color you want behind that. So that's how I got those colors. I just picked from that. I think it was this one that I picked earlier. So just wanted to show you how that's done, and how you bring those layers together. So I'm going to delete this just because I don't need it, and zoom back out a little bit. Okay, now if you want to, let's say we want to do this egg, and I like the egg because it's an image that's clean on the edges, it would be very easy to make a transfer with this. So I could do a transfer a couple of ways. Um, I can remove the background here, which is a very faint background. Then I can go to my position again and decide how big do I want it. Okay, so if I'm doing let's say a 3-inch cookie, I like to do mine at uh, about a half inch or even less. I'm going to say 2.25. Okay. And then I'm going to take my circle, which I've already brought up. You find that in the elements like we did the other one. And I'm going to put it over there and reposition it. And then I'm going to, whoops, sorry. Then I'm going to size it again. And I want to size it. This is like my target on the blue. Okay, so I'm basically, I want to know where to put it uh, on the or I want to know where to put the cookie if I'm going to do it on a cookie. Um, and so I'm going to figure my cookie is like 3.1 is what I usually go. It's actually a 2.8 cookie, but I go 3.1. I go about 3/10 of a around it so that I have plenty of clearance. Okay, so that is if I wanted to put it on a cookie, or I want an idea of how it's going to look on a cookie. I can also use it for that too. So it's just going to be a target for me. If I want to do it on a cookie, or I want to do it, pipe it directly on a cookie, I can do that. So icing transfers don't have to always be um, transferred. With blue, they don't. Anyway, you can do it directly on the cookie. So that's what I mean by that. So there's another technique that you could use, and that is okay. So I love this little image of the baby. You know, everybody's doing the I can barely wait cookies. Um, let's see, I'm too low again, aren't I? How's that? Am
Good.
I good,
Sorry, I
Deb?
was sneezing. Yeah, I'm here. I was sneezing. I had to mute myself.
Oh, okay.
You're good. Thank you.
Um, okay, and just let me know if I drift on you. Um,
You got it.
so now this little thing, this little guy, I would like to actually print um, him on this image on a cookie, but have the teddy bear raised. Okay, so what I would do is I would size this, go back to my position, which is the size I want to do. Okay, so I'd go to my position, and then let's say I want to do a three, I want to do a 3-inch cookie. Um, I'm just going to keep it simple. I don't want my design to be that big, like I mentioned before, so I'm going to go 2.5 on the design. Okay. Now here I would put my circle around it, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to put my circle around it right now. So I've got my size of the cookie that I want. Oops, I just lost it because I made it too big. I'm trying to make it big so you guys can see it real well. Okay. Just going to make it bigger so you can see it well. So what I'm going to do is I will print it out like I would any other um, cookie, except I'm going to print it on the bare sheet like I normally would. And then I'll take a transfer over that. And then instead of doing a transfer around the whole image, I'm just going to do the bear. Okay, so I'll just do the bear. And I'm going to do that with icing, which we're going to do in a little bit. Um, and then that bear is going to be dried 24 hours or whatever until I can put it on the printed cookie. And so and when I go to print my cookie, I'm going to print it just like I would any other blue cookie um, or cookie with blue. And then I'm going to put my transfer directly over that, my dried transfer directly over that. So does that make sense?
Does
Is
to
there any?
me, but I also know how to do it.
Okay. If there's any questions, please ask.
So
Um,
there is a way, I don't, just so you're aware that you can, I think I did it when I did my live about how you can go in and just grab the bear itself,
yeah.
should you want to do that.
Well, I'll tell you the reason I'm not doing that is I want to keep the proportions right, and I don't
Gotcha.
want to, you know what I mean? I want to make sure
Yeah,
that I keep that bear the same size. This
gotcha.
bear is perfect for that because it has a little halo around it. So, but what Debbie's talking about is, let's see if I can find it here. Um, See this magic grab? Oh, it's gonna, well, we're not grabbing the bear, we'll grab this. So
Okay.
I I hit grab and then it grabs it for me and it makes it a separate element that I can move, is what she's talking about, which is really cool. I love the AI tools that they've got these days. AI is really changing the way we do everything, you know. Um, okay, so now let's move over to this image. Um, I'm not crazy about this for a few reasons as far as transfers or goes. If you look at, I'm going to try to make it just a little bit bigger for you. Now my grab is still small, but you notice the little tails on the leaves. Those are really kind of delicate. So when you go to do a transfer, you want to watch that you don't pick images with those little details like that. If you do those little details, what I would recommend is that um, you pipe your icing on there, let it dry, and then pipe another layer so it's thick and it can handle that. Otherwise, those little ones tend to break off, and then you end up with just a mess when you're done. I mean, they can be fixed sometimes where they're not that noticeable, but sometimes they're not. And if you're doing things in a hurry, you don't want to mess with something like that. Um, okay, I think I'm going to go to the design that I've already gotten done, and I'm going to make it bigger. So I added a couple other ones. There's one thing I wanted to note on here. You notice how I wrote down here, and this is just kind of a housekeeping. Are you seeing me okay?
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what you're going to point at.
Okay. Right here, the bear. I've got
Yep.
here bear 2.25 inches for a 2.9-inch cookie. So that way, when I print those transfers, if I forget what size of cookie I was going to put those on, I've got everything right there. Okay, so and I didn't change the formatting, so the bear should fit. It should align with that image when you go to put it on. If as long as you don't change the size of it. So don't change the size.
You can actually
um
lock it down too, should you want to. There's so many
yeah,
functions in Canva. It's hard to keep up, and they change all the time. They keep adding new stuff. So it's the kind of thing you got to go in and play and not be afraid of because you're not going to hurt anything.
yeah. I tell you, I've used the lock feature on it, and for whatever reason, it always seems to unlock on me. So I might have to have you show me a little more on that. Um, Okay, here's another image. Now, this image does not have this happy birthday image. I thought was so darn cute. Um, and this image does not have a border around it, so you basically create your own border around it when you go to pipe it. And I'll show you that. I've got this format or this sheet printed out already, and that's what I'm going to show you when we go to do the transfers themselves. So I've already printed it out and everything's ready to go. Um, it'll be interesting to see if I can hold my phone and do it. That's a true test of piping skills. if you can if you can hold your phone and do it at the same time. Um, Fortunately, I have a right hand and I'm left-handed, and I can do one or the other. Do one with the other. Okay. So if there's no questions on that.
Nope, we're good.
Export. If I were to export it, I just hit my download button. I change it to JPEG because Blue has JPEG. I also, something I did not mention that I think is important. The format that I put my transfers on is 8.5 by 11. And the reason I do that is because that's how big those transfer sheets are. And it's perfect. And I don't have to worry about getting it sized right or getting, when I first started doing them, I would put them on there and I never knew if I had it right as far as the size. And it just was so much easier when I just started with a canvas that's 8.5 by 11. And then I add it to blue. I just rotate it once I get it in blue. And then and you'll see in a minute how that looks. So, anyway, when you hit that share button, you're downloading and you want to download a JPEG. And then I like to do a nice image quality. My rule of thumb is for every inch, it's like five, or every 2 inches, you're looking at 250 is what I like to have it at. So I try to
Can you
keep my
tilt your phone a little bit, please? There we go. There you go.
there.
Good.
So I like to save it at a high, if you've got the pro version, you can save it at a high rate. So I always go at least 2500, and then I put the quality up as max. So then I download it, which I'm not going to do because I've already downloaded it. Um, and then well, maybe I should download it just so you can see. Um, are most people on here Blue owners?
We have a big mix. We do have several blue owners. I can see them, but we have names that I don't recognize. So, which doesn't necessarily mean they're not blue owners. It means that I just didn't know they're blue owners.
Okay, so here's my download file. I'm going to open Blue, or open my download file. I'm going to save it, and I just named it already, so I'm not going to worry about the name. I've got it set where it'll automatically go to my Blue folder. Let's see. Or will it? Anyway, wherever your folder is, let me put it that way. I don't know why it's not going there. Maybe I'm already in my Blue template. Yeah, I am in my Blue templates. It's already, yeah, that's why, because it's already there. So you see that it added a 1 on the end of that file, and that's because I've already downloaded it and it's in there. So it's basically just telling me it's another copy. It's given it another name. And then I just save it. And then when I go into my Blue, I'm going to click out of here. When I go in my Ultra Print and double click on my Ultra Print. And then, of course, I want to do a
At this
new
point, let's
one.
go ahead and jump away from this because we don't show this part until they're trained because it can confuse
Oh,
people. Okay.
oh, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've done all that and I'm ready to go. I have already, and you might make you dizzy. So, uh, close your eyes a minute. I'm going to Blue. Okay. So can you see that, Debbie, or am I too close?
Hold on, you're moving around. Let's go ahead and back up just a little bit with it, and then kind of to the left. Are you going to show where the baby is? Is that what you're going to show? The word baby?
Oh, I want to show you the whole screen. Is it that close up?
No, no, no. Yeah, we can see that. I wasn't sure what parts you were going to show. So yeah, you'd
Oh,
want to back
no.
up a little bit more if you want to see the whole template.
So I want to just show you what the whole template looks like.
Okay, now bring the phone down, like rotate it down a little bit. You're up too high. And then over to your left a little bit. There you go. So stop it there. There you go. That's good.
Okay. So there, I've already started to pipe some of this, okay, just for the sake of time. Um, and I'm going to try to pipe. This will be interesting. I actually have, um, I had it all set up on my um, tripod to where it would work perfect, but I don't think it will let me flip the screen, so we're going to have to adjust. But anyway, so what I'm doing is I'm piping, see if I could pipe here. I'm piping around this little guy, and he's not going to be perfect because obviously I'm trying to do this and hold the camera. But I'm just piping around the part of the bear that I want in there. This is a pretty thick icing. It's almost a line consistency, which when I do the small ones, the really tiny ones like this, I stay with the thicker. Okay. How's that, Debbie? Am I making
You're
everybody
good.
sick
You're
here?
doing good. That's pretty impressive.
Okay, so there's my little bear. I'm shocked, quite frankly, I even got that done. Uh, and then I'm going to do the same with this. But you can see that this takes a little more time than what it will be if I do those squares. So, from a business standpoint, I like to point out that the squares are much better because your time is going to count on that. It's a good thing I got a little ledge here to hold my arm steady. Okay. I've also, while we're just here talking, I made a little cheat sheet and I started a Facebook group. And I think I'm going to start putting little cheat sheets on there when I do these because I'd like to do more lives and just share things. I want to point out on this one, it's got that white space in there. Just for simplicity, I'm going to keep that white space in there. Um, it might become too fragile if you don't. And again, those icing transfers can get pretty fragile. So my my bag is coming up.
One-handed piping.
Yeah, one-handed piping. This is how to do it.
We need a
This,
class on one-handed piping where multitasking comes to a new extreme. You're answering emails with one hand and piping with the other.
yeah, that would be something, wouldn't it?
I
You know,
know.
I think people in business, that's how they feel though. They're doing 100 things at once.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna try to get my bag. Okay, and I've got another bag too with a bigger hole, which I'm going to use when I go to my bigger images. Um, I'm going to try to do this as an outline, but we'll see. One of the things I like to do when I outline is I go up high because it allows me to see. You know, we all have a blind spot. I'm getting a lump there. We all have a blind spot. And if you can let that icing drop and see it from above, you're more likely to hit that line better. So I'm coming in with my bigger uh, icing there.
And how long do you let them dry on the bed before you move them?
I actually move them right away, and I have a trick to move them. Um, and I'll show you the trick if we've got time. Do we, or how are we doing on time?
It is, we got about 20 minutes left.
Okay. So hopefully
Oh, and we're not watching you anymore. You got to turn the camera a little bit further down towards you. Oh,
that
the other
way
towards you. Now to the left. To the left more.
better.
There you go. Yeah, it's just funny because you kept piping the whole time.
I'm trying. You, what is that they say? Left brain, right brain, all that.
Yeah, or no brain.
Or no brain in my world. So this is getting a little. I'm not going to do those little pieces because they'd be too flimsy and they would just break off. So I'm not even going to include them. And keep in mind when you're doing something like this, no one else knows what's on that design. So no one will know that I left off those little beady things.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Well, what I noticed too, when people do the little tiny roll transfers, almost like sprinkle type size, that you don't even need to do it really to the shape. You just kind of sort of towards the shape. Yeah, it's just a generality. So you're not getting the whole thing. It's just printing right on there. So
yeah. Another thing is sometimes I've had them where there's a little white that, I got too far or whatever. Um, I really, by the time you get it on the cookie, you don't notice it that much. I guess if you really wanted to be super picky, you could. Okay, I'm going to the next.
okay, we're gonna have to move the camera then. I mean, at this point, so you're gonna move it more towards your left, a little bit more. There you go.
Okay,
Oh, whoop. And then down
better.
just a teeny bit. Down just a teeny bit. There you go. Perfect.
Now I can't hardly see the. You can see I'm
Oh,
not. I'm
'cause I'm
not.
like, whoa.
I'm not seeing this thing very well here. It's okay. I'm not using it for anything. So just trying to demonstrate it.
We'll give you some grace. You can totally
Thank
move the
you.
camera because we're not even on it anymore.
Oh, we're not.
Now we are. Good luck. Decorating blindfolded. The next live on Icing Images. Sorry.
Uh, I wonder why when I put that in my tripod that it kept clicking off the screen. Like, yeah, it wouldn't reverse it. I don't know. I don't think I
It's
had that
okay.
last time. Okay, so let's see if I can go down to the. Can you see this one? The little.
Yep.
Okay. Now this one has a little gray outline, so I am trying not to go to the gray outline. I am don't want the gray in there, and I didn't think of that when I did the other ones. I just went right up to that gray line, and then I thought, that was not a wise thing to do because that gray is going to look dirty. It's gonna. It doesn't need the dimension. When it's on an image, it needed it, but it didn't need it for this. So okay. So you guys can see you basically just pipe it like you would any other transfer, except you don't have to worry about um my are you with me, Debbie?
I'm right here.
Okay.
You're
I'm feeling alone.
not alone. I
No,
think
I'm
you're
not.
alone now. Doesn't need to be.
Oh, I love that song.
You know what I always
Okay.
thought was odd? With all the things that I forget, I know just about every word to every song. Go
Yeah,
figure.
me too.
You never understood
Okay, I'm
that.
gonna turn this over and see. Yeah.
Now we see
Okay.
you.
Now we see me. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is
Yay.
I'm gonna start blue. Okay. Um, and to do that, I'm gonna have to turn on the program. Let me turn
Okay.
it on.
So while you go ahead and get that set, you got to get everything set up.
I just need to. I just need to get the task and all of that. Yeah.
All right. Stacy, you can bring me up while she does that if you want. Although we do like the close up of her hair. It's like you got some pretty thick hair there. Mine's so thin.
I do have thick hair.
It's,
Unfortunate.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
I've got that
anyone have
pulled
any
up.
questions so far? You go ahead
And I
and get yourself
Debbie,
ready.
want me to show leveling up um the blue or any of that?
Yeah, yeah. I was just waiting till you're ready to print
Okay.
because that's
Well,
hard to
so
do. Okay. Oh,
I'm
you're
gonna
ready.
level up the blue. Yep.
Okay.
How can you see? Okay.
So yeah, go ahead and level it up. So what she's going to do now is she's going to bring the blue tray, that's the bed, and she's going to bring it high enough up so when it gets close to the print head, it prints very clearly. So if you think a little bit about like if you're airbrushing, that's kind of what the blue is. It's a airbrush-ish where the further away the print head is from printing, the more overspray you're going to get. So we like to get it right up nice and close.
Okay. So I'm gonna go
And she's going to
move it
test it.
over. Yep. And then I'm gonna go back a little with my bed. Okay. And I test it through the whole thing. I make
Yeah.
sure. Can you guys see that? Okay.
Yeah.
I I go up, up, up.
And that's the nice thing is that you can move this all around and check everything. That's one reason why we don't have an automatic feed because sometimes things are different heights. And by doing a quick check, you can kind of visually see everything and you'll be more accurate because your eye is much better than any uh, um, computer's eyes or detectors, just with all the variances in cookies and such.
So I am
So that's
trying
what she's
to
doing right now.
as close as I can get. And I have a tendency to push the envelope.
Eh,
Okay. And then what I do, and I like to do this with my cookies too, is I go back and forth through the whole thing.
yeah, you take a
And
lot of care.
I do. I take more care than I probably need to, but I do that with everything I do. So
That's good.
I'm used to my own perfectionistic ways.
Otherwise, you
Um,
end up like me, and I don't decorate. So there's a reason because I'm not like that. I'll mess everything up, or I'll eat it.
I have learned because I've been in business, and I think how can you make money doing this? Because, but you have to learn to choose your battles, I guess,
Yeah,
is what. Yeah. So I've learned that sometimes I am too picky, and I'm learning how to cut a few of those corners without compromising. Um,
that's hard
okay.
for people to do who don't do that.
Okay, so
So,
I'm not seeing any problem. If I had a problem, if I was too close, you would see ink on the print and where the print head went across it, and I'm not seeing any of that. You might even see the icing smudge, and I'm not seeing any of that. So I am ready to put it into position.
and you're printing on this wet, so you're not letting this one
Yeah,
dry. Yep,
right.
and that's
And
the way
the
you
other one,
normally do it.
yeah, the other ones that I did were slightly crusted over. Okay, so um, I did them probably an hour before the live, so that I didn't have to pipe all of them during the live. So,
Yeah.
okay, so we're ready. Let's see. No, we got. Always got to do it right. Okay, and then we're going to print that. And I think while we print it, I'm it's going to get a little louder. I don't know if I should mute. One of the things I want to show you before this prints, um, I've got a few, let's see, of these that I printed. These are
Hmm.
just round that I put on a format. And I printed these on an icing sheet. And those were what you saw on the ad that came up. But notice the back of them. The icing sheet actually transferred the image to the back too. Does that make sense?
Okay, say that again.
Okay, so when I printed these, I'm going to cut it open so you can see. Um, when I printed these, okay, this little guy, where is
Oh,
he?
we can't see it.
Oh, wait a minute. There we go.
Up. Yeah, bring it up.
Okay.
Up, 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 up. There you go. Right there.
Okay.
Up,
So
down a little bit.
I'm not seeing what you're seeing in my screen. Um, better?
Yeah, you want to bring it down just a little bit. There you go.
Okay.
Stop. Nope, too much. Now up a little bit, just a teeny bit, because you're really close to the camera. So every little movement. Yeah, if you bring it back, it's there you go. That's better. And
Okay.
then the camera can
So
focus in a
anyway,
little better.
this little guy I printed on an icing sheet, and then you can see that was where I piped on the icing sheet while
Oh, on
it
the
was over.
backing, on the
That's the
acetate,
back. Yeah, no,
the
no, that
backing,
was on.
not the.
So what I did was I took an icing sheet and I printed on the icing sheet, and then I decided to pipe over that icing sheet. And when I piped over the icing sheet, I got the image on the back. You can tell it's not as sharp as the one on the front, but the image transferred.
Huh.
So it, it's on both sides of the little transfer, which I'm advertising them to put into Easter eggs.
Huh.
So
Yep.
they're an inch and a half circle, and they can tuck them into their little Easter eggs, and that they hide, with the kids, and they're a pretty cool deal, I think. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to turn this around while this prints. They're really beautiful.
Now, do you leave them on the bed for like 12 hours before moving them? You said you're going to show the movement in just a little bit and what you do, correct?
Yeah, I'm going to show you how to move them. These won't take too long to print. So, can you see them printing?
Why don't you go ahead and just back up just a teeny bit so they can see a little more?
How's that?
Hold on, now my screen froze, but yeah, I think it's better. Oh, now it's going. Yeah, you have to back it up. We're looking at the print head mainly.
Oh, okay. Well, you're super close.
Yeah, there you go. That's good. There you go. That's perfect.
Okay. So, look at how pretty they are. I mean, they're just vibrant and beautiful, and there's no bleed. Um, one thing I didn't mention was the consistency of my icing. The one was that I did the small ones on was more like a looser line consistency, and then the bigger ones that I filled was more like a little over a 20-second consistency. So it was a little thicker than the other one, or a little thinner than the other one. But you don't want to get your icing too thin because that's when you can have trouble with bleed, and that's when you can have trouble with them drying properly. And they're more brittle if you get your icing too loose. So, just some things to keep in mind when you do icing transfers, and that applies to any icing transfers, whether you're using a blue or not. You want that a thicker consistency so that they can dry faster and they're not quite so brittle and easy to break.
Yeah. Are you
But
using the standard ink or the Brilliance ink?
that's the standard.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, yeah. I can't wait to get that brilliant.
You're gonna love it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. But you could see how pretty they are. They're actually more on point than I thought they might be,
That's
especially
pretty
on
good. Left-handed.
the yeah, yeah. I think I just love the images that are available now when you go on those AI sites, and a lot of it, yeah, I mean, you have to ask permission to use them commercially, but a lot of the AI artists will let you do that, you know. So all of these I got permission to use, and these aren't any that I've made on my own, but sometimes I make AI images on my own if oh, if I have a special birthday or something and I want somebody's name on it, or they have a theme that I didn't have already in my images. So I do some photo editing too. I've always kind of have a love affair with photos, so um, you could potentially, you know, put happy birthday on any of these if you knew how to do it. And honestly, with Canva, it's really simple. You just add your text. So okay, so this is almost done printing already. It's only been printing, what, about 5 minutes? But you notice, I forgot to mention that I've got this on, I printed the bed on the paper. Then I went over it with this acetate sheet. Is that what you call it, acetate? That's on the back
Yep.
of the, okay. So I went over, taped the acetate sheet down, and that's what I piped on. So make sure that you have an acetate sheet, or you're gonna just take paper. How we doing there, Debbie? Are you got a good view?
Yeah. You can tilt it a little bit, but we're just about done. So, no.
Yeah, yeah, just a tiny bit. One thing I do think is important to keep in mind, especially on that little bear that's printing now, that little last bear, is to make a note of how big of a cookie that's for, because you don't want to change that. So if I were really doing that cookie for real, I would make as many cookies on that sheet as I needed.
Yeah.
If it were, you know, if I needed it to print a whole bed of those a full bed of those cookies, I would do it on a full bed instead. Um,
Yeah.
but another thing you can do is you can take like two of these 8.5 by 11s and stack them on one behind the other on your blue format too. So you could get two in there easily. That way, you know you're not, you know your transfers are going to be on the paper.
Yeah.
If
So
that
you
makes,
can put as many transfers as you can fit on there. That's the nice thing about the bed printing is it's whatever you can fit pretty much.
yeah.
You can print.
Well, and honestly, I could have put a lot more on there. I just wanted to keep it as simple as I can and still cover all the different elements that I wanted to show. Okay, so this is done. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop it.